Hello there people, this is Milad Rasai Manesh, the spokesperson of Central Committee of Ex-Muslim in Scandinavia. Here in the studio next to me, Hamid Jamali, the member of the Central Committee of Ex-Muslim in Scandinavia, is sitting over here. Hello there.
Hey.
How are you doing, Hamid?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to have you around in the studio in this program. Today, actually, we're going to talk about the big news of the week, I would say. As you guys most probably know, it's finally popped out. The Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, is finally dead. It's confirmed now. The US Army with the other coalition at the North Syria last week had an attack on the place. At the place he was hidden, I would say. And now, like as a result of the attack, al-Baghdadi is now dead. It's a kind of, I would say, like a good news to all the free thinkers, atheists and ex-Muslims in the world. Of course, this can be seen as the second point of like the main attack against the ISIS. So basically the group, the Islamic group, is now weaker than any time before. That's a big actually news. In this program we would like to take this chance to discuss it and like actually talk about more details regarding the news. As you guys most probably know, the Islamism, the political Islam movement, I would say, is like, you know, it's in power in many countries in Middle East. Since this movement actually got the power, we know so many faces and like a name such as Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who politically were in power and committed so many felonies against the people in Middle East and people living in the rest of the world, in like European countries, North American, and like some other countries in East Asia or like African countries, I would say. The point is, as long as we have this Islamism, political Islam, politically in power, we gonna have like people like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi be reduced and produced actually by the governmental system we have in those specific countries. If I would like to compare, for example, ISIS generally, or like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi as the leader of the ISIS specifically, compare them to like some other like a governmental Islamic governmental in power in Middle East, we can like, you know, we can reach the result that like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and ISIS were kind of innocent comparing to the like some other governments. For example, just have a look what Taliban is doing at the moment in Afghanistan. They're like over 60 years, they still in power, and they kind of recognized by like a Western governments. For example, Donald Trump had the plan to like start negotiating with these like Taliban and ignoring the like a government in Afghanistan. If you just like move on to Iran, for example, we have this Islamic Republic which is in power for over 40 years. They committed so many felonies. They've been murdering atheists, ex-Muslims, political activists. They put like, you know, so many like, you know, activists, political activists in jail, torturing them, like executing them. Women under the power of Islamic Republic got no right whatsoever. The hijab is mandatory. It's the only country in the world that women are forced to have hijabs. Child marriage is justified by Allah, and many other examples. If you just move on to Turkey, for example, you see Erdogan as the leader of the country is committing so many felonies against the Kurdish people. The Turkish army at the north of Syria in Rojava is committing so many felonies, so many anti-human incidents happening at the moment in north of Syria. And of course, inside Turkey, we see like Islamism is getting bigger and bigger. In Iraq, in Syria, in so many other countries, I would say, as long as Islamism is in power, we see like, you know, there are like so many leaders that, like, as I said, they like commit so many crimes, I would say, against humanity. The point is, Al-Baghdadi is dead. We're all happy to hear that, but the Islamism is not dead. Islamism is still in power, and like the leader of like these sort of like political movements, they still have the power. They still have the army. They still recognized by the European, North American governments. And as long as these people are in power, we gonna have like this sort of flaunting, I would say, it's gonna continue. Sadly to say that, but like the death of al-Baghdadi is not the death of Islamism.
Exactly. As you said, I also believe that when the al-Baghdadi is dead, definitely ISIS or Daesh will be weaker than before. But this, to me, I mean, the reaction of the media, especially the Western media, to this incident is like a little bit exaggerated to me. It's like, it seems to me that Donald Trump wanted to add, some bad guy killing to his resume, to be proud of in the future. And the reaction of the media, it's like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is like the bad guy who has been advertised a lot in the media. And they try to make this guy a very big issue. They showed this as a very big issue, and now that he's dead, it's like it seems like a very famous bad man, a villain of a movie, like it's dead, and people like being happy over it. But I think, as you said, we have much bigger problems in Middle East, in countries like that. The influence of ISIS was very limited to a few square kilometers or something, and very few people. But we have, on the other hand, we have the Islamic Republic of Iran or other Islamic governments in the region, like even Azerbaijan, even Iraq, and all of this. And a government like Iran has a influence, and the distance of its crimes are even bigger than its borders. The limit is even bigger. They influencing Yemen, they influencing Iraq, they influence Afghanistan. They are making all sort of felonies in this country, and over the time of the history, over the period of history, we see that Iran has been doing this kind of crimes against humanity for 40 years, more than 40 years. And you can't compare something like this with ISIS. And the good news is that people of the region have started attacking the roots of this problem. They are fighting now against political Islam. They are fighting against Islamism. In Iran, in Lebanon, in Iraq, we see that they are pointing out, even in Iraq, they are pointing out their problems and tell the world that the root of these problems comes from Islamic Republic of Iran, for example, because Iran, as we all know, in Lebanon, in Iraq, they have very strong forces, they have very strong influence, military forces and ideological influence in those countries. But people, the young generation, have detected this problem, the source of this problem, and they are attacking it. And they are against Islamism, against the political Islam. And they have started this. And they are going to finish this job very soon.
Comparing al-Baghdadi and ISIS to Islamic Republic of Iran, for example, or like bin Salman in Saudi Arabia, Erdogan in Turkey, al-Baghdadi is Mother Teresa, I would say. He's so innocent comparing to Ali Khamenei, Hassan Nasrallah, Erdogan, bin Salman, and the rest of these like Islamists, politicians who are currently in power in Middle East. As you said, we're watching these footages in Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, like the young generation are in the street now. They're fighting against Islamism. If they want to, like, for example, in Lebanon and in Iraq, if they want to fight against the corruption, poverty, and the fraud in those countries. They actually burned the picture of Ali Khamenei, Qasem Soleimani, and some other, like, Islamists who are politically in power. It's a very, how to say, overwhelming incident happening at the moment in Middle East. We have these protests all around the world at the moment, in Hong Kong, in Chile, even in UK against the Brexit, I would say. In France, the Yellow Vest, we still remember those people. But when we talk about specifically about Middle East, fighting against capitalism, fighting against corrupted government means nothing but to fight against Islamism. You see this young generation in Iraq, you see this young generation, boys and girls in Lebanon, they hold in their hands and they fight against all religions in power and all the religious politicians, regardless they're Christians, they're Muslims, or like whatever religion they have. They fight against all of these religious and, in most of the cases, Islamist government. That's a really overwhelming footage, I would say. And I would like to use this chance to send the message that all these young people, they gotta be united, they gonna be strong, and the victory will come to these people because they talk in the truth. It's everyone's right to live in a modern, secular society based on equality and humanity. And like, people of Middle East deserve to have such a life. So basically, I would like to use this chance to send this message to all these kids. Get united, be strong, and victory is not so far away from you guys.
Yeah, as you said, the example that you are saying about, like, Hong Kong, for example, or Chile, well, they happen to be no Islamic government in those countries, but it's almost the same. As we see the same kind of corruption and the same kind of crimes against the society. We see the similar things in Middle East, in Islamic Republic of Iran, precisely, and in Hong Kong. But they are fighting against, I believe, the same thing. But in Iran, okay, we say that it has a painting of Islam over it. That's it. And one more thing I would like to say about ISIS. Like, they were a version of Islam who were not hidden under a disguise of, let's say, democracy or ballot boxes. They didn't have this kind of excuse for themselves. They were proud of what they were doing. And the Islamic governments in Iran, Iraq, wherever in the Middle East, they are doing the same things basically. But they are successfully hiding all these kind of violence against humanity under some kind of democratic, let's say, disguise or politicians or whatsoever. But yeah, let's say ISIS was like a kind of pure, not apologetic version of Islam. And of course, this has taken a big hit over ISIS. They has taken a big blow, and of course, as we mentioned, the political Islam is been shaken very well, and they are going to throw out all these kind of political Islam and Islamic governments very soon in the Middle East.
Yep, thank you very much. I think that's for today. Make sure that you share your opinion with us, put comments on the video, and spread the word about the program that we making. Our special thanks goes to Ali Shojai, who was in charge of technical support for this program. Thank you for watching. Thank you.